You know that God brought you from the same blood. Ain't no difference blood. Your blood wasn't a little less bloodier than mine. Your blood wasn't more bloodier than theirs. In English, you send them to school to get trained by white people. You know that God brought you from the same blood. So you know different blood. Your blood wasn't like, you know, do everything to try to be best practice in way. Why you know, he ain't gonna have or she ain't trying to.
Boom. Posted.
This Hosendorf was talking about saying COVID turn to, it's like we lost our way on how to, we lost our own culture. We have European culture, you know, so it's like, let me get back to something. Nothing. Oh, my. Great point. So anyway, good evening again, good early evening, late afternoon. I thank y'all for being here. So we are dealing with love, reactivated, and our melanin. So shifting paradigms presentation. This whole forum comes about as a result of some feast days that we hosted here from the Bible from our celebrations here. And it was going to be a spell between pretty much like October to like the next cycle of holy days. And so I was like, we need to do something with the community. And so we decided to do a monthly event, particularly first Sundays in the vineyard. And this is where we want to make sure we have a forum that community interaction, community dialogue, you know, and just an ability to really just build community and hear what's going on with ourselves, with our community, and how we can, you know, just connect and unite, come together. And what better place than a vineyard, neighborhood association? You know, the vineyard is a very powerful principle and dynamic and allegory that relates to a people cultivating their culture, their life, and bringing forth good fruit, pure fruit. And so that's what our focus is today, is to make sure that we're doing that in the spirit of love. You know, I just want to preface some things. We do have some refreshments here, of course. This is going to be a conversation. So I hope you all can have a conversation. I'm going to just say a couple of things to kind of steer the conversation. There's going to be some prompts, some questions that I have that we can talk about. You know, so we want to make sure that is something we disengage. The thing that I really want to bring out is what love does to our melanin. And love has been shown in an article. Matter of fact, let me pull this article up. What? I don't need that up. So there's an article, in essence, that talks about how love actually has an impact on our skin. But there's three things that love produces when we are in that spirit, right? It produces oxytocin, it produces serotonin, and it produces dopamine. Those three chemicals are released in love, and that's when you see people glowing. And you get that glow of love, right? That light that's in you. And that's what love is. Love is light. Love is light. And the more that we can like receive light, the more we can give light. And that's what really love is about. It's about truth. It's about just transparency or translucence in really that sense. It's about being able to shine that light. And so what we're going to talk about today is how love impacts us and how even the reciprocal of love, not reciprocal, but the converse of love can also impact us when we deal with like dark and negative and hey, how do we deal with that? Because it's all a part of this balanced equation. Okay. One question. Yeah, you said serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin. Yeah, that's all from the brain. That's released from the brain, right? Yeah. And how that impacts our melanin is that it helps that glow to come about. The more melanin you have, you know that means more glow. Sit down for the bear. So you just I'm a light screen. Say something. Conversation. So you know we can have a ball. You have a ball in your hand. You're the only one talking, right? And so we can get started. Any questions before we begin? Pretty clear. All right, let's rock it out. We got some more people coming. I know some people said that they were coming. But let me just kind of go through this article real quick, right? An esthetician, Samantha Mims, says that love hormone and chats with three of her friends about how falling in love changes their skin. This is a little much, but here it is. So it's connected with oxytocin. You can see oxytocin there.
They talked about, where's the dopamine? I should have pulled up the other article, but it does release a hormone. But oxytocin, oxytocin is a very powerful chemical. See what does oxytocin do? Anybody know what oxytocin does?
No.
So it's produced by the hypothalamus, it says, right? I don't need that up. And the hypothalamus releases this chemical to the bloodstream by the pituitary gland. So now you're dealing with pituitary secretion. Okay. The main function is to facilitate childbirth. So one of the reasons why it's called the love or drug or the love hormone. Oxytocin, like endorphins or serotonin, is a type of hormone in your body that promotes happy feeling. You know that phrase, right? Some more good Frankie Beverly happy feelings in here.
Happy feeling?
Yeah. So that's what oxytocin does. It gives you that euphoric feeling. I think this is Lynette. Lynette? What's her name? Got another one coming in. But that's what love, that's one of the hormones that love produces. And of course, the other one is dopamine. Dopamine, we know that's that rush. You get that rush, right?
Yeah.
So dopamine is what gives you that rush. How you doing? Could you sign in too with the K button? And then serotonin is what allows you to get that peaceful feeling. That's what gives you rest at night. It's a mood booster as well. It's another happy feeling that you get. But look what it aids in, right? It can help with memory, fear, stress response, digestion. It can also impact addiction, sexuality, sleep, breathing, body temperature. So serotonin is another important secretion that is produced from love. Okay. And so these are very crucial relative to the reduction of stress. It's crucial in relation to just a balanced feeling and to be whole and to be at peace. And so, how you doing? Good. So, first question we got up here. What is the source of love for you? Spiritually, emotionally, or even ancestral? Anybody want to start with that question? It's all here.
There's the source of love for me, spiritually, emotionally, or ancestrally. I think it's emotionally. Maybe a combination of emotionally and ancestrally. Because the love that I think I have and that I'm displaying actually comes from what I have either seen or not seen in my yesterdays growing up.
Anybody else want to share?
Great.
Oh, yeah.
I would say offer.
All three?
It makes us whole. We can really be whole, you have to love yourself. Spiritually, mentally, physically, naturally. So I'll say you need to tie all three on together. And it starts first. You have to love yourself first. So a lot of times we may try to reach out and love someone else and skip all of those. And that's kind of like you're taught to do. Love other people before you even know the truth. So I would say all three. You need to know ourselves completely. And that's it's just
After thinking about it a little bit, I understood what both of y'all said, what y'all said, but I was really looking at the ancestral part. I think it's passed down in our DNA. You know, I looked at my grandmother, and then it's the 1st of February, and the work she did with Martin Luther King out there in Sunnyside, Texas. With integrating schools, and that's been passed down. That love has been passed down from generation to generation, people to people. So, I picked that up without even realizing the works my mother and my grandmother did, But now as I look at it, I be like, man, I had a lot of brothers and sisters that loved their people and loved their women, loved their children. So I believe it's hereditary.
You want to? You
I'm
want
that person.
Okay.
For me, it's all three. Spiritually first, because of the spiritual experience. I had as a young child, I got hit by a car, and put in a body cast, but in between time, I was somewhere where there wasn't here. And it was an inexplicable, and I always stutter when I try to explain because there's no words for this type of love. There is no words for that. They don't match. It's the human tongue cannot explain it. Emotionally, because I'm just and people call me a hopeless romantic. So, and I just can't let that go. That's something that, you know, I am the type I've learned. Don't be trying to hold on when somebody don't want to be loved.
Right.
Let them go. Let somebody.
Of course.
Yeah, you can't force it. It took me years to learn that, but I got it now, and I'm happily married now. He wants to be a good husband and a loving husband. Ancestrally, I'm different from a lot of the stories because every man in my family loved their women. Like they loved the women in my family. And it wasn't until I got grown that I found out, you know, they had some misgivings or whatever. But I was raised under a dad that gave me such amazing love that I said, at first, I listened to other people. They was like, you'll never get that. Stop comparing me to your dad. But then I was like, I don't have to compare men to my dad, but I can say, okay, this is a man's behavior when it's consistent, when it's, you know, this is what love is. They don't have to be just like them. But so for me, it's all three. And the ancestral thing is like, it just causes me to, I guess, see things. People say, oh, you see things in a way that's unrealistic, but that's just me. I guess I am overly romantic.
Yeah, question,
What was the article referring to? Because the way it was summarized, I pictured a physical love.
Okay.
It's what you get in order to make the mind start to release, meaning you had to be related to something.
As an esthetician, she was really just talking about the impact of love relative to the skin. Right? And so with melanin being, you know, producing the melanocytes in our skin, and she was showing how the oxytocin, how the dopamine, and how the serotonin can actually enhance the glow.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah.
Right? So she was dealing with it more from a physical standpoint, chemical,
Right.
biochemical standpoint. Yeah.
It does. She's right.
Yeah, but to know that those chemicals are secreted when that love bug hits you is powerful, you know, and these are things that we can understand relative to how we can produce a better sense of self, right? A better, you know, projection of love, knowing that center of love starting with yourself, that's from where all things emanate. And that's what we have to get started. I can say for myself, I had at times look for love to come from places other than from within ourselves, right? In doing that, it has curtailed really the impact that love can really have in my life. Pastor Black, thank you for coming. We're seeing you. You want to follow up?
I'm listening. I want you to finish it.
I mean, that's pretty much my thought, though.
So I'm listening to.
Guys, think.
I'm listening the way that I listen. And when I hear this secretion or this melanin inside of or this magic inside of my skin, when love is enacted or I'm involved in it or I'm process of it or state of, I'm wondering if I feel that way when love is done.
In terms of done, what do you mean?
Yeah.
After the ejaculation
Well,
or after the romance.
it's sex.
After the feeling. So yeah, that part right there. So sex and the feeling and the thought and the lead up, everything that's going on that I am placing into this moment of experiencing this release. This sounds like this release is a reaction to an action. And that action, they say, this reaction might be love. So it's now an action. that releases or causes my natural melanin to burst all over me.
Right.
But when there's no action, and I still love or in love.
Okay.
Oh, see, the way that my arm was,
Let's come, y'all. Here we go.
So, what's important for me, I'm glad now I'm thinking that my love, the source of it is spiritual. Because after all that's done, sex, the emotion, the ancestral past, all bondage, that we went through, love conquers all of that, all the emotions, all the, things that our past, our families went through, rape, or, whatever happened in the past, moving around, or, divorce. All these things, like if it's not spiritual, then when it's over, when all those things are over, then what do you have? But if it's inside you, if it's spirit, it's coming for something deeper than you, then you can't proceed to have that, no matter what. So, I guess my source would be.
When I heard the brother talking, man, I had a lot of questions. I should have wrote them down. But, my first question was, is sex or that release, is that love? Is that what you think love is? Or is love deeper than just sex? And then, I was thinking that there's different types of love. So, maybe when we look at the word love, I know we immediately think of a woman or women think of men, but I'd be like, is that the essence of love, sex, or just that? So that's just the question I wanted to pose to the room, and it's good.
I was also thinking once you said that, I believe that love is something very embodied. So, in the act of what the body code. We call love sacred, it's a bigger tree. And the roots that will be love us. And those chemicals that's released is those sources from the ground in the roots. And so love is something we embody, it's a force that moves us. It doesn't need anything added to it. So when you do add anything that's desired of us, that won't be considered love, I don't feel. I feel like it would be a contribution to us having a human experience. Love doesn't need anything added, we are just love. Love exists. It's just. So you don't like me. That's why I saw.
And you were thinking the same thing I would, but I was gonna use me as an example. Because when I'm here, I look like this. But when I'm around my husband, the people who see me on Facebook, they can tell you, I literally glow. I go to Africa and I get 3 shades lighter in my skin. And I can't get a tan. I go there to get a tan. And my skin just lightens up. Because even though I know he loves me while I'm over here and we have the love, it's something about being in a physical proximity to the love. Even if, he might be off in a mine or on a farm or something like that, but the physical proximity to the love also does something physical. And I think that's what she's referring to. Because I can look in the mirror and I'm glowing and people will be like, messaging me, are y'all expecting? No, I'm not expecting. And you're like, oh, girl, why you glowing? Because, so, and people say, oh, does it have anything to do with the sex part? Well, there's been times I've been over there with malaria for a whole month. Ain't nobody touching you when you got malaria because your fever is at 5 million and it feels like somebody's stabbing you every time your skin touches something. So, but I still glow, even with malaria, because of the love, the way, and it's not just the way he treats me, but the love that you experience. So if we're talking about on a physical plane between people, then it does not have to be sexual. It could just be that physical presence of that love. That's the reason why, if y'all look at it, you can almost see in bad relationships where people start being treated bad because their skin gets dull. They stop glowing. They can still be dressed up, but they look a mess. And it's because that other person has withdrawn their love, attention, and put it somewhere else. And they just look. So what she's saying about the physical appearance and the glow and the burst, I do believe that exists.
Yeah.
So that's a great point. Because my question goes, you said there was many types of love. Am I gonna experience that same burst when I am disciplining my child?
No.
When I am having a fight with someone who is coming to my house to hurt my family? What you just say? I see that's a good segue. Ready from the last one, you see the last one. Yeah, the town shots.
When love becomes
And I feel that glow when I'm at war. When I'm at war, because my mindset is, I am ready to die for my family. The love that I have for you, I'm expending love. So what I'm trying to make this shift from is that a lot of men, me, and other guys that I know, we have redefined love.
Yeah, that's true.
And supposedly, whether the glow comes or not, and that's what you see. The woman in this battered situation who looks, no matter she's dressed up, there's a possibility that she's still there loving him. Is that not love?
And I think that's a great segue to what is love? Like, how do we define love? What is the definition of love? So, what thoughts you all have on that?
Okay, so my definition of love between people is consideration. Everybody puts their, but if somebody's not considerate of you, like, let's say the person you love is getting up, going in the kitchen, and then they come back out with something, you're like, dang, you nasty. Or, the woman knows that her husband is gonna be hungry when he gets home from work. So she sends him to work, not just with a lunch, but with more than enough lunch to tie him over to where when he gets home, he's not gonna be looking for dinner to be done because dinner's still gonna be cooking because of her schedule. Or the man who says, oh, my wife keeps saying she likes this. And then he just gets it for her, not for no special occasion. Or, somebody's like, let me go ahead and pick this up. Consideration, considering other people or what, and I don't know how to explain consideration outside of us, but consideration is just literally, when people ask me what love is, because people just, and my husband made me sit down and he said, you're a very loving person, but I need to know what you can call love. What is love to you? And I finally thought about it. I said, consideration.
That's good.
I will never, you can anticipate my needs before I ever have to say anything because you're that considerate of me.
We're dealing with one love and black love, and we talk about this topic a lot, and we've gotten a lot of answers from a lot of different people. But I just want to make a statement. Is love an emotion?
Not in my book.
Not in mine.
But it is. No matter if you think it's not a want, right? Love is an emotion. It's a feeling.
Oh, yeah.
Correct?
No, exactly. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask you,
That's me.
was love, how did you think about love being an emotion?
I think it's the expression of love. Emotional is the expression of love.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Love is the emotion. The emotional aspect of love is the expression of it.
Yeah.
Like that's what you feel. But love is a principle. Love is rooted in like uncompromising principles, right? That you just stand on and you uphold, you consistently. Because if I felt a certain way about somebody that I thought was love, and something happens, and I'm not feeling you at that particular time, if that's just what love is, I can be out the door.
Yeah.
Well, that's why, I hear people, I apologize.
No,
But I hear people saying one day they're in love and the next day they're out of
that's
love.
not wrong.
And I'm like, so when somebody says I'm in love, that's not love.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So love is committed. Love, what I understand, I'm gonna use one of the most, I believe, misunderstood Bible verses that we speak of. It says, the Most High so loved the world, he gave. He gave his only begotten son. So love is about giving,
That's true.
right? It's about giving. In our mystical tradition, the reason we receive is in order to give, right? If you receive in order to receive, that's selfishness.
Right.
Love is selflessness.
Right.
Love is about abnegating yourself to make sure the other is secure, is taken care of. Not to say to the detriment of yourself, but to make sure that you are, able to give. Because if you don't have a source in you to give anything, you can't give it.
So one of the greatest love stories I was brought up on since I was born. It's the story of Jesus Christ. And they said he loved God loved himself so much, that he loved us so much that he gave his only begotten son. So isn't love sacrifice?
So I was gonna say, you see, not to the detriment of himself.
Right.
He just defines to the detriment of himself.
Yes and no. Yeah.
I mean,
You mean,
so
huh?
my daughter's here. I'm here and danger's there. It's gonna be to the detriment of myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sacrifice your life for it.
See, because what the way is.
Great point, so then you have to add in capacity. Because if the Most High loves us so much for the gift, son, that's his capacity to give. So some people want to give so random. Like he said, they don't have anything to give. When we try to give, when we have an empty cup, let's say, so we try to extend the, then we want to call it love. But then we also said to give something, if you receive it, you're trying to get it back, then what is it? It's selfish. And so that's where you get people like, I love them, they give me like this, and they go, because they had a capacity to do that. And it ties back to the beginning, was the stuff of love. It says here, it's handling what we believe is has to come to ground first, and start with, like I said, ourselves, but then we have to learn from that.
When we start rolling the ball, we're gonna start rolling that.
Example, be it factual or non-factual. Someone who does not have the capacity and all minimal maximum to show up. Oh, see.
Trying to be out, still. Here's myself. And I was learning experience. So myself, not having the capacity to love, but knowing what I believe love is to be for someone giving so much of themselves away that they would have to be able to pray whatever costs it. So you're having into it, you know what it looks like, maybe it's been televised to us times. We don't pick up the concepts, we pick up the image. So we don't have the capacity because we can see, oh, if I do it like this is what it gets me. But then we find out that it gets us deeper and deeper and deeper into debt, let's say. With love, it gets us deeper into debt. Love, my situation. Getting married at 16 years old, I don't know anything about that. But sacrificing so much of myself in that situation, I didn't have the capacity to be a wife. I didn't have the capacity to do what I was doing, but I knew I saw my mother still married to my dad, but that was what I saw. And so, I try to portray that image until I had to find out who I was spiritually, emotionally, who I was with the Most High, being raised in a religion. So you just really don't know these things. You are a prompt to keep giving of yourself. It's a cleavage. And so you gotta find it. And now someone, you actually finding that, and then you attach yourself to someone who doesn't know. Now you have to be that karmic blessing, because they have to learn these too. And so now you can see it, but you're on the other side. Now you see everything that you was to yourself. The only reason why you are experiencing this, because now you can identify this person like what you can choose. And so you gotta, you take power from there. Someone that have the ability to love themselves, and then them finding it, and then identify this person. Have no compassion. They don't even know how to conversate and relate to me emotionally. I'm expressing myself, nothing is there. And so that's how you know when people have capacity. And they may have the capacity to, and say if they know how to cook, they may be a chef. They may have the net area to serve everybody. But that's their capacity outside of being able to do that. They can't hear you emotionally and have an intellect with you. So these are different ways you can identify what people can. And just because they can't love in one area, doesn't mean they can't love at all. They just have one love. Wow.
Well, your last words were exactly what I was gonna say, the love language. Okay, so we cannot, like, don't buy me, if it ain't a house, a car, or some land, you can't impress me with a gift. You get what I'm saying? People I tell them my ex-husband wore that out, and he was like Turner, and he came home with everything. I got furs, the cost of cars. You get what I'm saying? So you can't impress me with a gift. You can't impress me with words. What you can impress me with is your presence and action. But then other people are impressed by other things.
Right.
So the love language is how I always say this. You may think that person can't love. No, they can't love you the way you identify and feel love.
Mhm.
So that person may not, they need to be with someone who, if they're a gift giver, they need to be with a gift giver. You know, somebody like me. You're in your presence, physical touch, and, you know, just, you gotta be, you, just like a job. A job is not gonna consider you an employee if you're not consistent. I'm that type of consistency in that. So that's what I need in order to feel love. And when you said some people just cannot connect mentally, there are some people who their brain just does not feel empathy, compassion, consideration, any of that. Those people, hopefully you can identify them early, but like you said, at 16, and me at barely 22, we were not equipped to identify that. I know men who married early, they were not equipped to identify that, so you wind up getting, pouring out, but not having it reciprocated. So for identifying the person, number one, I always feel like, I always say everybody should take love language quiz. That's number one. Then you know where your other person's coming. You know, that's me and my husband now, that's what we did. And I was like, oh, I can work with this because all of our first three are, you know, but then after that, just, if you feel like if you're in the phase of courting and you're not getting through with that person, be willing to say, okay, this ain't working. It stops a whole lot of people from complaining later on. Be willing to walk away and be like, you know, this ain't working. We not on the same page, and it's okay. So I'm going ahead and just this.
What I hear in my mind is relationship. You said something similar to some people don't have the capacity to love. And in my opinion, if you can do this, you now have the capacity to love. I'm going to say that I believe just because that particular person did not have the enough capacity to give you the type of love that you thought love was at that age. It's only my opinion because I can only opine on that situation. That there's a possibility that maybe outside of you, when he left that home, somebody else knew his love. Not another one, not another, but maybe his mother, maybe his best friend, maybe his cousin. But when he went, he had the capacity to give in a situation where the situation needed. And that's kind of one of the definitions of love. Love does what's needed when needed.
Real talk.
So. Learn.
No, this, it does, this, and I've had to learn, but to go back and questions of the style, very to relate. Definitely have grown past it, but, we all have somebody in mind. And I do agree that we all can grow, but trauma stops a lot of people. Even though they have breath, they don't have space to release. So they are gasping for air, even though they are breathing. So you have to, okay, yeah, but that was a struggle even for that person. Waking up could be. But somebody laying in a bed with you and you like that can make you feel good. You would try to love that person, but that's trying something. And so that's what activates what the healing process, trying to love somebody when you messed up. So it's not just about the breath that we all do. And a murderer can shoot somebody, but people like I'm saying, their mother knows their murderer was the law. Or the mother has passed all the issues that have shown her that her son had released. So it depends on how you're looking at love. Love can be harmful. From that point of view.
Say love can be harmful.
If you look at it that
Yeah, there we go. If you're looking at it from that point of view, love can be harmful. But you said, it just ain't great. We could be hearing someone who's going to take all of our lives. Because he's breathing, I mean, he's able to grow.
Just saying, yeah, I'm just asking a question. I ain't really want to say no more. But can love be harmful? I'm still not understanding.
All right, say love can be, it's kind of like the scripture, the love of money. Yeah. I think that's what I'm saying. If you're looking from the perspective, because now you're willing to let anybody into your life. There is no one to this.
If you're looking for it, understand. Mike, I'm gonna ask you for some help with this because I'm not that guy. But at one point, or was this, were there like 12 different tribes that were, their tongues were separated or something like that? In the Bible, like,
You talking about curse of Deuteronomy?
No, that's more like, you know, when people try to build their own city for their own selves.
but he separated.
Respect separate by language. Yeah, that's it.
Their language.
Yes, sir.
So that's kind of how, I'd like to believe
Right.
in that parable. That right now there's 12 different people in this room. And there's 12 different languages of love in this room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, coming back to that, what I wanna bring it to perspective, and you brought it up, love has many different contexts though, right? In terms of parental love, you have sibling love, you have community love, you have, relationship love, there's many different contexts of love. And so how we apply that love in those contexts is gonna be determined on the appropriate measure of love, right? How we measure that. But I'm just thinking, like, when I'm talking about love, when we're talking about love, we want to make sure we're looking at it in all of its context. Because the thing about love is that it covers all things, right? And it overcomes all things. So we have to get ready to define love in order to understand how to be love. And I think sometimes we look at love as if it's outside of us, right? We have to be love. And then how do we engage in it with love? Even if it's in the context of you having to protect your family, even if it's something you have to, like, maybe even use violence in order to protect that which you love.
It's sacrificial.
So,
No. I mean, well, I want you said something like love has many different contexts or something like that. And then you said love covers all. So does love cover all the contexts, or is love different contexts? Which ones?
I think in principle, love covers all of them.
So the contexts are not love, they are covered by love. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
So love does not have different contexts. Love is what it is that covers different contexts. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah. Great point. Clarification.
Okay.
Specificity. Let's go to our next question. The next question, and you talked about feeling. What does it feel like when you're aligned with love versus being disconnected from love.
Repeat that.
What does it feel like when you are aligned with love
Close enough, just like that.
versus being disconnected from it?
It feels empty, right? It feels empty.
I mean, this is from your perspective, like you said with you.
Explain.
Yeah, let's explain. It feels foreign. Didn't feel authentic. Didn't feel like home.
See, it does not feel like home. Why?
Right? I get that may be relative based off of what would be no for me, right? You know? Yeah, I would just say it doesn't feel that.
Why?
Well, oh, why?
What that feel?
So,
What that too?
Yeah,
the thing is that you can't define your love.
sure, yeah.
However, I will never know your love. Unless you tell me why.
Mhm. Think about that. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Okay, so I guess we're all here to be loved and love, right?
Mhm.
So not having love is make you feel empty, you saying alone, it make you feel alone. You know, like you don't have anybody, so when you have love, you connect, you can smile, you can engage, you can reach out. If you're depressed, because serotonin, they say low serotonin level causes depression. So that's like not having love, so I guess not being connected, like I said, just alone, like you feel alone.
So are you saying that's sometimes how you feel?
Who me? No,
Oh, so you just,
I'm just saying like, for people, of course, and what does it feel like when you're alone with love versus disconnected? So like, yes, so if you're alone with it, you feel happy, you feel, ready to do whatever, you take on the world, you feel, you can give it, honestly. But then if you're not aligned with it, you can't give it, can't receive it.
One and two.
It says, what do you feel like when you're aligned with love versus when you're disconnected? For me, like I said, since that experience at 8, love is just when I'm not aligned with love, that's when I'm angry. So when I allow things to take me to that space of anger, I know I am not aligned with love at all. I can be disappointed, frustrated, and still have that. It's I can't explain it, but it's just you know it because you feel it bleed. You feel yourself forcing it away. And I tell people I could just be having a normal day. Even if I don't feel like tackling a day, I'm still aligned with the love in me. I can feel it. It's so hard to explain. I wish I could put it into words, but I can't. But it's just like a lot of people think that the love that you explain, the love for every situation in your life that's going to happen, or the people that you encounter, that love is just an everyday being for me. So when I'm taken out of that space, I know that I'm no longer aligned with it. And when I know that I'm not aligned and I'm too far gone when I allow myself to be carried away and I don't even seek to rush back to see. It's not even a feeling, it's just a being. And someone said something a couple of weeks ago. He said, it's so hard to be loved and hard to love people, but I can't align with that because that's who I am. So, and if I learn now in adulthood, if you present it and it's, not received or it's received and not reciprocated, to walk away. But for me, when I'm aligned, I'm able to just, I always tell people, when people want to argue in our drive lift and people are like, just let me be loved. Just let me be loved. We're gonna get through this. I'm not gonna give you a low rating. Just let me be loved. But don't cause me to step out of alignment, because out of alignment for me is under the jail time. So literally under the jail time. It's not even jail time is don't ever let her out. Put her somewhere running on windows. So that's how I know when I'm out of alignment, because it's just not that purity of understanding. Someone can be the worst person in the world, and I still be like, I understand because they didn't do this, they didn't do that, this and the other. But there's an understanding that I have that I lose all understanding when I'm out of the line.
What does it feel like when you're aligned with love versus disconnected from it? So this half of me feels rage when I'm aligned with love.
You are mine.
And I'm aligned with love.
Hmm.
This half of me feels so much optimism, so much euphoria. This side of me feels so much pain and so much angst. This side of me, yeah. So basically, what I'm saying is, I'm aligned with love and I feel everything. I feel someone else's pain and I don't want it to be there. I feel someone else's love and I celebrate it. I feel what's inside of me and I want to share it. I feel what's not inside of me and I don't want to have it. I feel love because I'm aligned.
That's good.
Yeah, so that's it, you mastered, because some of us, we all actually see like that. You're allowing those God action, you allow the purpose and the sign. That's why people are coming into their life, what you're supposed to do for them, or what you're supposed to allow them to do for you. So like, both of y'all saying, you can feel what's happening with the connection. And even if they may not, because we master in love, and we're able to understand everything, you know, mistakes they make. And we can identify if if you're able to talk to them. So being aligned with love is truly purpose and sign. Because we are love walking, we become better love agent to those in the other. And then to be out of it, you don't even know why people come in your life and you can do the same way. Allow them to do the same. You can feel the resistance in your all of your love. That's what we have to do.
Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Next question. How has your view of love changed, or your understanding of love changed as you heal?
I like that one. As I heal, love is just is a given, it's just there. I just tell people like, what is love? Love is me, you, us, everybody, children, adults, you know, it's just, and I go by the word says God is love. So whatever you think God is, as long as your God ain't telling you to do nothing crazy, nobody. But you know, but I feel like as I healed, before I healed, I used to always be like, well, this person did this wrong to this person, so they don't know how to love. And then once I healed, I was like, well, no, maybe they just were trying to pour their love into the wrong person, and this, that, and the other. So now my understanding of love is each person loves you according to their understanding of love. Each person operates in this world according to their understanding of what love is, who love is, and how it presents. Cannot put my understanding of love on anyone else, because that is my understanding of love. And so now for me, as I've healed, I just operate from a place of, I tell people, I understand, we all human, we figuring this thing out.
So,
No, so I was supposed to go over there. No, I was supposed to. So, okay.
Speaking of love changed as you have healed. Ooh. You're healing. No.
But that's true.
Yeah, so I would say, I want to say it's not inconsistent. Right? Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah. That's just coming to me, he's consistent, you know.
Okay. Yes. You got it. For me, at one time, love was more transactional.
Yeah.
Right? Based on what someone did for me, you know. I thought, oh, I love you. You did that. You know, that's good.
Mhm.
And the whole understanding for me now, love is transcendent. Like love is like, if you love, you love. Right? Even if there are bad conditions that are present, you know, you still love people through that. It may be from a distance.
Yeah.
It may be from, but you still have love for that individual, and you know, hope the best, you know, and you pray, you know, for the individual, and just make sure that love is always present in that. So that's all.
Hallelujah. We understand back to what she was saying, understand, you know.
So, you know, when you read this question, how has your understanding of love changed as you've healed? And I've been on a 20-year run of healing, and love is what has healed me. The teaching of me learning how to understand and love myself, me learning how to understand my brother, me understand how to love my mother, my girlfriends or friends, you know. So, you know, I've been in this journey of love, man, and I think I still haven't got to the top, but you know, I haven't mastered everything. But it started me on this path, and that's where One Love and Black Love came from. But yeah, it's given me to change my life and hopefully help others, inspire them to change their lives. But yeah, man, I just want to throw that in, that love is what started my healing process.
Got it. All right, so I got a question.
Yes, sir.
And this question comes from, how has your understanding of love changed as you've healed? So I'm getting ready to pretend like I know that the Black woman has been hurt most. That's what I'm going to pretend. I don't know for a fact. And her healing has been going on, or shall I say, ongoing. I would really like to hear, how has love changed and the understanding of love changed from a Black woman?
Yeah, that's a good question.
But he looking at me now.
You got a lot of He gave a lot to me. There's no risk. Something comfortable at what still they play on. It's a context. I had heard you. I thought I knew what love was. I had heard you. I'm still learning. I need to hear from you.
Man, that's a good question.
That's a good one, man.
Take it back. So, you know, I'm sorry, you don't have to, but
I was just thinking. Well, like my first marriage, that wasn't love. That was more just, I say, we were young, lust. That's what I say. That was not so. Erase that one, got over that one. My second marriage, when I met him, before I met him, this older lady had met him, and she said, "That's the man that you should marry because he loves you and he loves your kids. You should really marry him." She said, "I know you don't love him. You will really grow to love him later on down the line." So we did get married, and he did say to me, "I know you don't love me." And I told him I didn't. I really liked him. I liked what he had a job like Adam. He had a house like Adam, and he could, he supported us. But as the years went on down the line, then I loved him because I could see his love for me and my kids. It took some years.
Did you love what he can do for you?
Well, not really what he could do for him, but like the lady said, what he had, okay, let's go back to Adam and Eve. Adam was in the garden, he had everything, right? I mean, I'm just saying, let me paraphrase. I mean, the house or whatever, he had all of that. And then when Eve came along, I had all of that, and everything, but it wasn't what he had because I worked too. I had to have a job to help, whatever, but, I just really, really liked him, but it took years down the line to really love him, and then I really did love him in the end before he passed, but it took years, we was married like 30+ years, so I did grow to love him, and everything stuff, so, I don't know, some men you get, I don't know, with the love with, just, I think it's more a beginning of a like first, you gotta like him.
Maybe she might like it necessarily. No, I think it's can answer of just fine.
It doesn't. That's why, in the end, I really, really did love him. I really did, and we had good years together, and stuff.
Just to piggyback on that, 'cause when you said I talked about it, it reminded me was asking some youngsters, they're about 20-something years old. This is at the LinkedIn program. And I was asking them what love means to them, here from a younger perspective. And there was a young man, educated, scholar. And he said, okay, love is what you can do for somebody. And at first I was like, but once I thought about it, that's really how love works today. What can you do for somebody?
There's some people, I'm sorry. I'm finished. Okay. Many people think love is transactional, and then there are very few like me who don't need that. Listen, God gave me 2 arms, 2 legs, I get a foot work. I know how to cook, I know how to clean, I know how to do everything. And I tell people I used to be a truck driver, so I made man money. I didn't need no man for that. You get what I'm saying? The only thing I need a man for is to want be my husband to be here for me better. And then you go come in and have me take care of that because I ain't no fool. Anybody I take care of is my son. So, but to me, when you ask how explain to the man, my first thought was antifreeze and Gatorade. That's how I'm explaining it. Like me. Explain to you how we helped you. And to me, if you love someone, it depends. I'm gonna ask you a question and then you can give it back and I'll give you the answer. What was the hurt? When you said explain to me your love after I've heard you, what because it's according to different types of hurt.
So the love was the dick. I'm thinking the hurt was the dick. Wait, the love was what? The hurt, the love. Both. There we go. Both. Okay. No, seriously, because my definition of love came through here. Okay. I understand your love. It's what I gave you. Okay. And the only thing that I gave you at that time was that. Right. Okay. I'm gonna give you the bar back, but what are the things that you did? Yeah, hey, yeah, that's true. The thing is a lot of guys grow up thinking that love is this.
Real tough.
Yeah, it's real.
Yeah, true.
Exactly.
True. No, I ain't think love.
If women don't understand what that word sounds like, they actually are masked when they see it because they think that that's love,
Yeah,
but it's the dick. That's what it is.
that's what it is.
So you said something similar to that man, according to somebody, loves you and your children. He didn't put his house in front of you. He didn't put his job in front of you. He didn't put anything to you. He just opened up his love. And as time grew on, is there the possibility that his love actually planted, rooted, started to grow?
Okay, now that you answered that, the way, because I've been there with my person and relationship before them. And what happens is, well, with my first marriage, I knew that love was not it. But the relationships that I had before him, I assumed that sex had something to do with love. And the instant they took that sex somewhere else, once I found out, cut it, I will treat you. They could be, one of them could be sitting right here next to me and I'll be talking to the rest of them. And he'll be talking to me, Lene, and you would think if that chair was as empty as that chair. Because of the way he did things. So how do you explain that? For me, when I was hurt in that manner, I just chop it because I would get angry. You know what I'm saying? That brings out that primal thing because some people cannot admit that even if you love somebody, you have to grow to the point of understanding that's their level, and you don't run around getting mad and trying to hit people with stuff. You get what I'm saying? You just walk away. You know, a lot of people are not mature to that level.
Right.
But now, someone asked me a very pertinent question. They was like, your husband's in Ghana. And what would you do if you found out he was cheating on you? I said, I love that man so much. We would stay married and I'd get me a boyfriend and he could have his girlfriend. I love him passionately. You know what I'm saying? That's my person. His person. We will stay married. So I'm like, you ain't gonna touch me. Stay over there. Stay over there. You know, stay over there. But you know, it can't like the scar can't get the Ghana voice anyway. So you just stuck like Chuck. But that's my understanding of love now because it supersedes anything physical or sexual. It's that me and him are like, yeah. And that's where the spiritual thing comes in. We truly understand each other. We understand each other's traumas, this, that, and the other, blah, blah. I'm an adult woman. I worked around thousands of men for 29 years. I know the best men can slip up and the worst men can become the greatest husband. So it depends on the person's choices. So how would I tell you right now, oh, you've hurt me? It just, like I said, it depends. With this husband I have now, he would have to make the choice to walk because he don't want his wife to have a boyfriend. But that's what I would sit down and say, hey, this is how it is, but I'm healed now. The old me used to just cut it. And now, I mean, I am the queen of ghosting. You know, and the old people be like, you need to slow down on baby daddies. Well, I'll slow down when they stop cheating. And that was just me. It was not, I could care less because you're not going to make me feel like you love me and then you go give that love to somebody else. But like you said, that was when love was the dick.
So this is my always posed question then. Because you know, we talk about love. So is love possessive? You have to possess someone to love them?
There's three questions in there.
Oh, yeah, I apologize. I just want to pose that to y'all. Is love possessive?
You say a little bit for me because it's been a while since you asked me.
I realize that was really fast. Yeah. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
So it's me.
Well, I know it had something to do with our love. After
It's that right there.
that.
Hold on, let me go back. This is the question. How has your understanding of love changed and healed? That's the question.
Well, you gonna do one at a time?
No, break it all up.
Okay, so mine is love possessive. Because most people that's in love are very possessive.
Okay, once you heal, that brings to the center, that's what we thought. Once you heal, you realize from the pain that he hurt me, very worthy of, in the way I used to react, because I was possessive and I wanted him, or whatever that he gave, felt like it was mine. When you heal, you realize that love becomes the weapon. It's no longer the thing that drags you through the blood.
Yeah.
Love becomes the weapon.
Yeah.
Now,
Weapon for what?
the weapon to make sure that that the frequency go high enough for people to love you right. So, okay, let me see.
Yeah, I'm confused.
Yeah, I go, don't go as higher. Okay, so love becomes a weapon. So you strategically learn how people treat you. When they don't, but when you receive love at a lower level, that causes pain. Then when you realize when you interact with people, you see those same patterns. You learn people. You know what you have to do to heal from. So now love's the weapon. You don't let them abuse you. You just make sure you stand in the frequency of love, and then they will either be able to gravitate to you, because love can pull. And so love becomes your weapon. You become, it's like master and puppet. Love becomes the weapon. You're no longer possessive. You just raise the standard. And if those people want to connect with you, then they have to change. You just learn. You say how I view it, I view it as a weapon. So I love you unconditionally. But that doesn't mean I have to let you be abusive and fail in your relationship. That's how my views changed now. Because I'm healed. I remember you hurt me. And I know what caused you to hurt me. But you having me you having me in your life now that I know how to master love as a weapon is gonna help you, and you're gonna stop doing it. And that's what comes with it. I don't have to control it.
So don't let change yourself.
It's a perspective and how you handle love. The love is powerful. And if I can show you that I see you, but I haven't rejected you, you're gonna see yourself. So I love me enough to see me this messed up and know I'm playing games. Yeah, I gotta look at myself in the mirror. You become the legend. And that's what people love. That's what the Messiah did. You have to see yourself. You have to see why you want to stone this woman and you know what you're supposed to do. Love knows the way.
Thank you. This weapon. Does it hurt?
Yeah.
Does it penetrate? Does it cut? Because I'm scared already of your love.
It's tough. So you're looking at women as if it's a. How can that be if I'm giving you the opportunity to see yourself? How can I be hurting you? I'm putting a mirror in your face so you can change and help yourself. Because everything you do, like the law of attraction, it's gonna come back on you. If you mishandling people, you doing people wrong, you need to learn, you need to have the love that can change you.
So love becomes inferior.
Definitely.
I like that. Love is the mirror. I'm still trying to get a see is the weapon.
Oh, we're definitely man. You gotta go sorry for that, but he was calling everybody to find themselves. He's
Like that.
because love is the way.
Okay, cause it or let it.
What do you mean? Because remember, love is the assistance.
Oh my gosh. Because you didn't make that like that. No, it's like she's all. Yeah. That's a good case.
Everything you're saying. So what I'm seeing in it, it's like having that protection. You protect, you're covering. So, yeah. And the weapon is like, if you need to use it, you kill them with kindness. Kill them with
Not just kindness, but love.
But with love. But it's like the same principle though. Right? So you're gonna love people to their fault. Not to your fault. You're loving them to their fault. I love you through your fault. You're forced to look at yourself now. So that's how that love works there. And it becomes a weapon in the sense that what's gonna die is that own person.
It's like a tool.
And exactly because I've had recently someone look at me and say, why are you so nice to me? And this person is mean and just hateful to everybody. They're like, why are you so nice to me? And I was like, that's who I am. Okay. And then so they got my lift again. And he was rambling and going on and talking bad about the drivers and you two. And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, I hope you have it better. And he's like, why are you so nice? What is wrong with you? And I was like, this is just who I am, man. I was like, I can't, unless you put me in physical danger, I can't not be this, So, but the next time he got a new lift, which was a couple of days ago, he was like, how you doing today? And I was kind of like, I'm just really not having a good, well, it's going to be okay. And he began, and he was like, just being around you made me look at myself and say, something ain't right, dude. It's like, that's gonna be nice to talk about. And that's what she's talking about. That's exactly, because he said he told himself when he saw me on the phone, you gotta be nice to her, because this lady is always nice to you.
You inspired him, you enlightened him.
Yeah.
So we know that the frequency and the vibration of the day is low, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do we bring this frequency back? And then neither that, how do we reclaim love as something our ancestors practiced intentionally and not accidentally? How do we be intentional with love? I mean, how do we go about reclaiming that love that we once had for ourselves?
That's deep.
Stop seeing it. Stop seeing your world as me, as I.
Mm.
I cannot exist without each and every one of you in this.
That's deep.
So anything that Lene does to hurt anyone in this world,
Wow.
especially our community, Lene is actually destroying herself and her children and her grandchildren. Think of the decisions that people have made that they never knew they were making them. The decision to flood the hood with drugs. And now we see the kids from Grain Valley and Blue Springs and Oak Grove and all these places that's not like us strung out in the hood on drugs because people did not see people as themselves. So that's how our ancestors practiced, and they even said they were very loving people. When Columbus landed on the mainland, he said, hey, you could take what, 50 people and enslave them all? Because these are loving people. Anything I do to you, I'm doing to me. That's how we have to reestablish love. We not gonna I'm gonna dog me out. That's what I'm not gonna do. I'm not gonna love me. Well, tell myself I'm going to the gym and I'm just going. You get what I'm saying? Or hey, don't spend that money because you instead of taking money from somebody spending, knowing you ain't gonna pay it back, you wouldn't do that to yourself. You wouldn't spend money from yourself that you know you're not gonna put back in your bank. It'll go to work to put it. So you get what I'm saying? So treat everybody like they're you. When you see them, when I look at the people in this room, I see y'all as individuals, but I also see y'all as an extension of me. So anything I do to hurt y'all or to cause y'all any kind of pain or just to be uncomfortable or it'll be all right, like parking in a handicap spot and you know you don't have the placard. You get what I'm saying? That's causing somebody some pain. You doing that to yourself. You never know if you might need that in the future.
That's one love.
That's you. That's you. Does anybody else want to help them out?
How do we reclaim love as something our ancestors practiced intentionally, not accidentally? All right. Don't judge me. Okay. Don't weaponize me. I don't know that definition of my ancestors as my great grandmother and my great grandfather. And I don't know their true intention or the accidents that they made. What I do know is that my great grandmother used to get up at 4 o'clock every morning. My grandmother used to drop me off at her house to babysit me, and there were grits and eggs on the table every morning. And that's the same woman that shot her husband. Cheated. I do know that that's the same grandmother that dropped me off every morning, left her kids and moved to New York. I.e., my father and her sister. I do know that my mother and father had pain also. So this ancestral love that you're talking about, I'm hoping that it's not something that we have romanticized without fully knowing whether or not they ever healed from their pain. Because the next question is, we use that word healed a lot. And have we just healed from the moment? Or have we just not yet healed because our journey of pain is still going?
That's really interesting. I was having this conversation earlier today with someone, and I was saying how I was always in break, right? And so I normally when I would be with them, it was quite information, what we call a state record. You can always see where the different ethnicity can family to become the father's name for the record, right? And so you always hear the stories, almost like a gateway to hear the stories of, okay, the pain, right? Big Mama was in the fields and had a baby over here, but then the other man married her, and took her kid like his own, right? And so back to your point, that might need to be more defined, because I think oftentimes with people of color, some of it, not all, but some of us, love was pain, right? It came out of suffering. Some of it, not all, but some of us, right? It was also circumstantial, because based on what you were saying earlier, an older woman told you this is a good man. And so it was out of love. She said you were a good woman. Woman is a man, to support her and her family. That was out of love and protection for you. So it's almost, so again, back to what you're saying, like what we might have to define that, because that must be different for everybody, right? So anyway, just observation. Say it again. Recline.
That's how we got issues from that, so, because it was not was
Say it again.
Yeah,
Before the pain, right?
we're missing the reclaiming part.
Okay.
We came right into what was taken,
Mhm.
how to get it back. So we listed all of these traumas. For one, we want to talk about these traumas out loud with our families. They need to be brought together, and we need to have those, those conversations with them. And then we have to intentionally do better. Do better. We used to do reunions and things like that, but those were when everybody was quiet and nobody was talking about the secret that was going on with them. Somebody have to be bold enough to start talking about it, start bringing the families together, stop judging cousins and mothers and brothers. All that stuff has to be put away. I think we have gotten to the Americanized way of love, support, believing in somebody, all these different, images that they keep us to change our mindsets of what family really is. But our ancestors didn't have hope. They had love, they had authenticity, they had you my baby and that's my baby and that's my, and they had to go through these things together. They walked through whatever it was, whatever that they had to do.
How far back did they go?
But that's the point.
No, no.
Talking about playing.
Yes.
Wherever we lost it, that's what matters.
So we had it?
We had it. We had to have it to survive.
We had it.
We had to have it to survive before we were separated. If love is what we know it to be and we're talking about, then from there.
Okay. Here, because I got a question for you. When did the ancestors, the word reclaim is a very important word in there. To claim again, the love that was once. When was that?
I think your point about romanticizing things is important. At the same time, I would go to pre-colonial Africa. Right? You go to pre-colonial Africa, you're really gonna see more of a communal construct. You'll see more of a familiar construct. You'll see more of a whole person construct, like man or woman. Not to say it was perfect, it wasn't, because there's still issues that we were working on. I think, however, during those times, we were more functional. We had less dysfunction, right? And so reclaiming the heritage that our ancestors had prior to the dehumanization process of the Ma'afa, the Great Disaster, I would pose the notion that we were more whole as a people.
I like that notion. I'm gonna leave it right there. The reason is because I don't know. And I don't speak on anything I don't know. Gosh, man, do I opinionize a lot. God, I throw my opinion everywhere. And my opinion says that pre-colonialized days, back when all that love was going on and all that melanin, it's my understanding that that village right there that produced enough families and children to produce that village, which meant that they were from that village, produced enough people to produce that village. produce that village were some of the same villages that eventually expanded throughout Ethiopia, Africa, and so forth and so on, that began to capture not that village, but that village, which was spawned from that village, which came from that village, captured that village. Then they captured that village so that they could expand because they were still growing. They needed to feed their families. But they captured those people and killed some of them and sold some of them into what now we call as the greatest atrocity the white man did. They captured and killed other black men out of love, sold them out of love. And we're talking about this dream of one day, someday, there once was all this peace and harmony.
Why do you say sold him out of love? Selling them,
Their
it's
family.
not
They had to feed, they had to feed their village. So this king said, you know what, hey, I got this problem. We only got so much land and all these people to feed. And I love my people. I love my people more than I love those people, but they got land. And we need that land. So that we can expand it. That's why they called it dynasties and kingdoms and provinces and expansion. I love. They even call them crusades.
You want to say, but that's a totally different people when you say crusaders.
It's totally different people, exactly. I'm just going back to when.
That's a good question.
When did we ever have that love?
I was wondering why would we go to Africa? Let's go to pre-colonial America.
When? Here.
Well, I just posed questions like why go to Africa? We had pre-colonial times right here in America. But we don't know that history, do
No, we don't.
we? Yeah.
But we romanticize the hell out of it. You know, we need to be like back then.
Sure.
Well, the pre-colonial, fortunately for me, I read up on the pre-colonial America, and I kind of got the history of pre-colonial Africa. Pre-colonial Africa is exactly what you described, which is expanding dynasties and things of that nature, and kings fighting each other and for land and things like that. Now, pre-colonial America, it interested me once I met someone. We were in Brussels, and they were telling me about going to the Christopher Columbus Museum, and they were showing me in their phone pictures of diary entries, journal entries that he wrote that pre-colonial America, we were different. It was not the wars. He did not encounter wars in the beginning.
Right.
He encountered people living through peace and love. And so when I saw what he said, how do we reclaim those? That's how they were able to come in, because Black Americans, we accept everybody in and then we get burned. And that's how they were able to come in and do what they did, because they were so loving. They took care, they looked after one another.
Right.
There was not that fighting. Who was it? The one Native American who they kept saying, Geronimo. And Geronimo said he told everybody, he's like, hey, I don't want to be this warrior. These white men are making me act like this. I don't like killing. I don't like fighting. I just want peace for my people. But they're making me behave like this because they won't be what's wrong in people's act. So when you talk about reclaiming love, it just depends on where you're from.
Right.
Because over in Africa, the women don't marry for love. They marry for, like what that woman told you to marry, for stability. For, and then they'll go get a young man if they even have stories of women who had children with other men because they thought their husband was ugly, but he was a great provider. Seriously. I mean, real life stories. So it depends on who you're talking, who we're talking.
Yeah, we trace back, to Africa. My mom said they were a tribe of women that took men as slaves, black men as slaves, and mated them out. So it's all kind of things that, in Africa, when we talk about another continent, I'd be like, let's find out how we were right here on this continent. You know, because I be like, you know, we skip over a lot of our history going way back to Africa.
That's the colonial man, I know what you're saying, so we do have history here in business. Well, so we're getting close to 6, so let's wrap this up because I have some exercises I want us to get into as well. So in light of everything we're talking about, right? The brokenness, the trauma, the healing, the new understanding of love. How do we now build a culture where love is the foundation and not the afterthought?
I'm like,
How do we move forward with love to build a culture?
So you made a comment, something similar to once you heal and understand, you become this weapon on the spear. You don't let people run over you or use you anymore or something like that. So
They're smart enough not to.
yeah, you're smart enough not to. I still do that. I need to choose that. And when I say that, meaning how do I build culture? Right now, I believe that I have capacity. And that capacity is every time I go, you know, I believe that I'm one of the richest men in this world. And the reason I believe that now is, which is a bank account. That's talking about the fact that I have planted love. And I believe that whenever I call, love responds. And even to those who are still taking, someday I believe they will have the capacity to stop taking. And they will actually say, you know what? They might start doing something different. No.
Bingo. Bingo. That's exactly what I'm saying. We need a weapon discredit.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm saying. You're smart enough not to. See, I told you some shit. You have the capacity to allow them the space to come back and do it right. You took the hit, but you fought the record. Because now that you allow this, something has to be agreed. You gave me grace.
Love and love.
Yes. And I feel like now
See, that might be a weapon.
that's foundation. So we have to be the agents, allow people to get the activations that they need to change their lives to walk into the frequency of love. Because that's what everything is gonna tie into in the end. You're gonna have to be able to walk in love.
Yeah.
And everything else gonna die out. The frequency will be too high for them to even gas air outside of love. So that's what the agency is there, and that's how we define it.
The messed up part is she wasn't sitting with such swag.
I'm taking notes.
I said it earlier, you know, just look at everybody to make it a foundation. The foundation of the thing that I operate in love is I see me when I see other people, and that's just because of the understanding that I have of the God I work, which is, you know, He breathed the breath of life. So anybody breathing the breath of life, you are love. Because God is love. You get what I'm saying? So that's the foundation. So I cannot look at another person and not see them as me and not love them and not be considerate of them, of you all, as me, even though you all are your own different expression of God in human flesh. But for me, the foundation needs to be when we get to separating ourselves, that's when we begin to justify not using love as the foundation. So that's when we begin to justify not building culture around love. Certain people don't want to be treated certain ways, and if you don't want to be treated certain ways, you're going to make sure that you don't do that stuff.
Put in my hands. To build, sometimes you gotta do what? You gotta destroy it. You gotta tear it down. So there's some things that we have had established in our community that have become pillars that are not constructive, that are not productive, that are not conducive to our existence. And so necessarily to bring a new foundation into existence, that's the thing we gotta destroy. And that's not easy. But it starts in our homes, it starts with ourselves. There's a map on the wall over there. And the title of it says, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." It starts with us. Everything starts with ourselves and how we move in this light.
Yeah.
And then we find another light that shines like our light, you connect with that light. You build the community. You have to build the community that will create the culture. And then you remember, you go back. So we have a principle of Sankofa. We have a principle also known as Teshuvah. You go back to fetch what you need, and then you correct what needs to be corrected from the past in order to know how to move forward. That's how we reorient ourselves. So these are principles that are used to help us build this foundation, and then we do everything out of love. Right? And we know our source of love, be it emotional, be it ancestral, be it spiritual. We have to draw on those sources of love. For me, my source is spiritual. Because it's my creator who brought everything into existence through that principle of love. Right? And that principle was to make sure that individuals had that capacity to give off that same principle of love to bring everything into a harmonious one. That's what happened to me. Any other thoughts, though? Oh, okay. Yes, sir.
I'm not necessarily asking for an answer to this question, but why are we still talking about this in 2026? Because I'd like to believe this question was talked about in 1980. I'd like to believe this question was talked about in 1963. I'd like to believe that this question was talked about in 1900. That's what I'd like to believe. But every generation, or every other generation, has to revisit the same questions.
Any thoughts?
Now, can you ask that question again?
I couldn't if I tried.
We keep coming back to this question because we falling into self. The culture of selfishness is prevailing over the cultural foundation of love.
That's what it's all.
And so because we have a culture, and I'm not just talking about relationships, I'm talking about in every area. You know, we wouldn't see the homeless problem we have if it was not for selfishness. We wouldn't see, you know, people walking around feeling in love with it. The selfishness of it all keeps bringing us right back, you know? And so once we address, and he just showed me something that says exactly how I feel. Once we address that, none of us exist without the other, you know, and so we are all one and the same. We all breathe in the same. We matter to each other. It's not, I like the way the Rastafarians say, they say I and I. They don't say we, they don't say you and I, they say I and I and I and I. So when you point another person and say I, that reminds you that that's you. So, you know, if we gotta get rid of the culture of selfishness.
You're absolutely right. You know, selfishness in your sin.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's just some of not all gifts have been activated. Some of them were taken away from us, and the generations know the solution, but they know the answer. Yes, but we're getting to the solution. And so many things are being come out, the generations are learning more. We're gonna get there. And the reason why the question is still present, because there's still oxygen there. The most high still has it available for us. It's not really, but there's just still more gifts that we're activating as we become more knowledgeable of who we are spiritually. You know, God wants I was very big religion, and it took a lot. You know, it was always one way, do it this way. And someone came to the knowledge of spiritual works. And I just believe in being activated more and more, bring it to pain. But it's not gonna die, that's right. We're switching on that.
I have a question. How many of you all, you don't have to answer this, but today, how many of you all are starving? Nobody? How many of you all are thirsty? Just thirsty, really bad. Nobody? How many of you all are freezing cold right now? Right now? Nobody? How many of you all are tired? Just exhausted? Nobody? Okay. How many of y'all feel threatened right now? Okay, nobody? Don't feel safe? All right, nobody? All right. Those are the two bottom rungs of Maslow's hierarchy. And it's just my opinion, that many of us really think that we're starving, which means why we hoard and don't share. Some of us actually have enough excess and access, but we really think that I gotta keep it all for myself because one day will come. And that scares me. I'm not secure. But yet, I jump to the top because I want you to respect me. I want you to see me as my actual self. My actual self. You don't know about my bottom rungs because they're not even established. They're here who they are. And that's not self-love.
And that's where it all starts. That's the foundation of it. And that's why we're here to talk about this and to really be these lights that we need to be to help others see that self-love is where it all starts. And that's the challenge. You know, people's backgrounds, their upbringing, their environment, there's so many factors that contribute to this blockage, right? And this absent vacuum of lack of self-love. We have to start being these champions and advocates and even witnesses and counselors of this love. You are here for a reason. Everybody chose to come here for a reason. Because you have that in your heart. Some people just roll with it and they're like, go ahead. But we're here for a reason though. We have a desire to make that change. You're here because you desire to make a change. Be it with yourself or be it with your community. And so with that in your heart, you know, that shows that you have a capacity to love and you have a desire for change. And with those capacities and desires, that's how this all initiates. That's how it reactivates. We're agents. We're all agents. And so we wrap up. We got about 22 minutes. I have 4 exercises. We have a spiritual recalibration. We have an emotional recalibration. We have a mental recalibration. We have a physical recalibration because they all go into love. That's really our 4 dimensions. We have 4D, really, as it comes down to. So the first calibration or recalibration is the spiritual mantra. It comes from Deuteronomy 6:5 and also Leviticus 19:18 as the foundation of love. And it's from a biblical perspective. The first one is a mantra that we can say, and we say it twice a day in our culture anyway. You shall love Yah your Elohim with all your heart, with all your soul, and all your might. Right? And then the second one, like it, you shall love your neighbor as you love yourself. Imagine saying that in your life at least twice a day. How that can impact you, how that can rewire your whole cellular structure, your whole spiritual structure. Especially if you are intentionally saying it. So that's something that we can recommend. You can say it in Hebrew. There's a Hebrew. I can send this out. It has a whole different resonance in Hebrew. Yeah. It really does. But even saying that in English, it has something to rewire this particular technology that we have called a brain, where our thoughts come from. So that's the spiritual recalibration. The mental or the emotional recalibration is a heart chakra hole. You want to stand pretty much, you can sit. With your hand at your heart capacity, you want your shoulders relaxed, you want your beam relaxed. Your hands are clasped at your heart chakra, right? And you just breathe. So we got 2-3 minutes. And you just visualize love coursing through your body. So this is what allows your heart chakra to get reactivated. So when you sit or you stand, your whole body's relaxed, and you want to make sure that you are just fluid. And this is what allows for your heart chakra, from where the center of your love being, in essence, is this emanation there. Just focus on your breath and see light, clear light, white light, and feel that energy of love coursing and pulsating through your body. That's the heart chakra hold. Everything relaxed, no tension. Mentally, you can sit comfortably with your relaxed spine as well. And lower your gaze, close your eyes, inhale slowly. Imagine your thoughts loosening like knots untying. You want to see all these knots, these kinks, these glitches, these traumas in your life being unleashed and like released, so that you don't feel this particular pressure anymore. This is now a mental visualization. There's something called the Maharishi effect. Anybody ever heard of the Maharishi effect? You've heard of it? I feel like I have. You heard of it before. The Maharishi effect is actually a transcendental meditation experience that individuals did in this double-blind study, where they had people in rooms. It was in DC, it happened in New Orleans, it happened, I think, overseas a couple places, but the people sat and just thought about reducing violence in a room. And it impacted the city. They had a reduction of violence because the people's minds were focused on the reduction of crime. Because as we think, so we are. And the power of the mind is all. Everything is mental. That's the first law of universal laws. Everything is vibration, everything is mentalism. And so when we clear our minds, we can change the entire world. And last, a physical recalibration. This is a melanin alignment stretch. So you want to stand. I'll just demonstrate it. You can see. If you want to stand, you can more arm girls here. Straight. So you want to just relax, good shoulder width. Come on, sorry. With your hands, you want to bring your hands up, inhale. Relax, come forward. All the way down, let your hands fall free. When you roll up slow, and inhale. And go again. Exhale, going down. Come up slow, inhaling. One more time. Come up. Exhale, come down as the hands fall free. Now come up straight and relax. These are good recalibrations to get yourself going. And as you do this here, you want to make sure that you're just thinking of love, you're receiving love, you're expelling love, and you're bringing it all in to alive. Yeah. Any closing thoughts? Anybody? Reflections? Anything? You have some refreshments. You don't have eaten. You got some chips, some dips, some veggies, some medley, some chickpea medley over there. Have a donation bar if you want human donation. Cheers. Some cake. What kind of cake is it? 7-Up cake? 7-Up cake?
I just was taken back in what you said about being a weapon. You know, this for a couple of days, you know, and really, you know, talk to the Holy Spirit again, yeah, because that was power. It's the what?
And weapons, you know, I think something we think about weapons is like it's just dangerous. So they destroy harm, but they're protected. They protect or protection. Oh God!
I just never heard anybody get those words like that. So I was weapon. You know, it took me back, you know. But yes,
All things of the belt, the breastplate, the chest, the sword, the shield, it's all that. Do you know that the current versions of the English Bible today has Paul's letter to the Corinthians that starts with the chapter, though I speak with the tongue of men and angels and have not love. You know what it used to say?
Well, charity.
Charity.
Yeah.
area. And I was hoping that you would have gotten to that point and also introduced the concept of the agape piece, which was common among the early Christians. When they would have the gathering for the breaking of bread, that was sometimes referred to as the agape feast. And so far as marriages were concerned about love, in those days, marriages were determined by the parents.
Sure were.
Even Isaac's uncle picked his
wife.
his wife. He wanted Rachel, and he got and it was his uncle that picked her. He had to work another 7 years to get the bride he wanted. So, and that far back, didn't get to pick who he married. Even Jesus's parents were betrothed before they came together.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was when Joseph found out that she was pregnant. And he was going to put her away privately. It was comparable to today's divorce. And those are some points that everything that all of you said, Cleve, was so impacting. It brought all of these things to mind out of scripture and out of biblical history. And I just want to thank you for this. This was one really, really good discussion. You're a child.
Yeah, you're on the ground. I mean, this is what we need in our community. We need the world. The world needs now. Love, this. But this is the start. We can definitely, continue to build on this. I know next month we're going to be dealing with trusts. I have an attorney. Hopefully the brother will be here. His name is Tony Ventries. We're going to be talking with us about trust fund, how to create our own trust. That's the good stuff. It's going to be very important as we can look to secure our interests.
Yes.
Our party. But after that, brother by the name of Benayahu, Yehuda will be going over some African martial arts. We'll be outside in April. Hopefully we have a nice, good Sunday. Right. We'll be out back and we'll be teaching us some African martial arts. So relative to that. And we'll have the reference as well. So we're open for pretty much May on, kind of trying to get the people nuts and get them to come up and speak. I know I really at least got to hear at least 2 of them here. Maybe 3. I think with another coach over there as well. They want to have something to share. You know what I'm saying? Popular. I feel more than welcome. You know that. But we want to just keep this momentum going in our community. Make sure you bring somebody if you come next time. When you come, let's make it positive. We're going to be having our feast days here as well, coming up in April. Starting with Passover and Unleavened Bread. We'll have a 2-day, 7 days apart. We'll have 2 celebrations of that coming up in April. We'll be going through our calendar. Availability to stay, so hopefully we'll have availability here to make sure that we can make it happen again. We had a wonderful observation last year in this location. And just some good energy, some good food, and good edification for the community. Definitely do that as well. But that really does conclude everything. I just want to thank you all for coming out again. Like, y'all made this possible and just had a wonderful conversation. And be on YouTube, out there on Facebook. Thank everybody in here. We're not you.
Before we disperse, can we get a group picture with our host, Michael Long? Anybody that wants to.
No, what is that? It was like rap cartoon. We on the way on them. Let's
Tell me.
Might be better to do it outside of the store. But it's cold out there. That's not getting a good light.
I'll tell you what, we'll just.
Right here facing that
We'll
light.
clear this. Let's just clear this over here.
Yeah, we face that light.
Look at the camera first to see where the camera shows the best look.
Yeah.
Okay, right, that's the point. Let's see more clearly that look. See right there, it's just when it's not. Hey, you see,
I think,
yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. The one with the study, no, right from Steve.
That's not bad either.
How you doing, brother?
Pretty good.
You feeling better?
Yeah, feeling good, but I'm still good.
Whatever y'all want.
The try fall.
Next question. We all keep on the night flight.
Real quick. No. Real quick, before everybody get up here, real quick, before everybody get up here.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody, or whoever wants to.
You
know?
I'm good again.
Really got to be for everything?
One choice. Three. Well, this one gentleman. No, one fish down there.
So it's the picking that.
First one, 12.
Nay, Marvin.
I got it's just that right here. That's what's, yeah, I mean, now I'm mad. I'll be on. I got it. Things like how about somebody actually had them? Yes, some things.
Yeah, everybody want to sit down.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Look, you don't have to put on the tripod, then go to the camera, and everything get in.
But yeah, well, let's get this one first. Real quick.
And you can put more chairs in the behind. Oh, man.
Got all, let me get y'all real quick before we get the tripod set. Okay. The House of Messiah, first Friday's been yours.
First Sunday.
First Sunday. I know.
First Sundays, anybody on 3? What? 2, 3.
First Sunday.
I said it wrong again.
First Saturday. First Friday. First month.
Oh Lord.
No.
Oh.
Melanin. Hey, quick question while you're doing it. Were there people outside Garden Deep? Before?
Keep it open.
Yeah. Okay, we had a conversation about it.
Okay.
We are done.
Yeah.
All right, I got to see how to get the countdown.
You heard of screen too much? All that for the time. I'm glad the conversation.
I seen it done, but I don't know.
And then we can we're done.
Yeah, all before that, we go. All of that.
Yes. Well, because it's focusing on Israel. So this is, the Bible's focused on the lineage that we live. Right?
That's time.
That's what the Bible says. It only goes back, what, 6,000-7,000 years? There's a whole history of humanity that goes back 20, 50 plus thousand.
Here's the real problem.
All right, 3 seconds or 10?
10 job and sitting where you can boom up. She know where she gonna stand.
Yes.
I'm just.
That's gonna be 9 seconds right there.
Yeah, I'm like, this, but she's gonna run over here
So you
too.
can put a chair right here if you want to. See there.
Oh, wait, the timer. 10 seconds. There we go.
Yes.
Don't run in the chair and fall back.
We can run in the chair, fall back.
Oh, dang, somebody fixed. Oh, you
Don't worry.
Okay. Okay, 10.
Thank you. Hear clicking. 5, 3, 2.
I'll put it on One Love, Black Love. Y'all want me to send it to you just so.
Okay. Right, hold on.
Can we put a motion on the
And all the ice mentioned.
Close up.